Hello, everyone, and welcome to Astrology Talk Forecast. I am Mallory Key, professional astrologer, accredited with the American Federation of Astrologers, and I'm here to present the March 2025 forecast. And there's a lot going on. I just want to let you know. When I was doing this, I just kept seeing more and more to compound the energy for the month. The purpose of this astrology talk is to inform, bring awareness, and to clarify. And the next week class, there's a following week that I will do it at 7 o'clock to 7:45, and I will help people locate these aspects in their own personal birth chart. And a birth chart is free for the class, so you receive that. All right, so thank you for Cosmic Connections hosting this and their staff, my teacher, Mr. Thomas Parsons, and all on this Zoom call. Appreciate you being here. Here's the outline, and I actually had to take out a couple of things just to make it fit. I'm going to talk about the nodes. Okay, so when we're dealing with eclipse season, you need to understand that the sun and the moon and the earth are on alignment. It's called the nodal axis. And the closer they are, the more impact of the total eclipse or partial eclipse if they're not quite all the way close together. The new moon in Pisces is tomorrow. That is going to happen. That means plant seeds of intention. So, and it's also Pisces. So it's very sensitive. It's spiritual. It's no boundaries. It's creative. The full eclipse, the full moon eclipse is going to happen in Virgo. The new moon eclipse is in Aries. We have the spring equinox this month. The Venus goes retrograde. Yes, Venus goes retrograde along with Mercury, and Mars just went direct from being retrograde. So we have Venus and her retrograde, Mercury retrograde, Mars going direct in Cancer, and that happened on the 23rd. So, but it will have its more motion as it reaches the March 1st. Neptune ingresses into Aries. That's a big thing. And Saturn and Saturn and Neptune will both be in Aries eventually together. So here goes the nodes. All right. So we have the North Node. North Node is about our destiny. It's the horseshoe in the right side up position. This upside down South Node is where we've been. It's our past. It's like or an energy that has already been encompassed. And now we're moving into our North Node. And so you want to locate the North Node and the South Node in your own personal chart to see the energy and sign that you are moving toward, and then the sign that you're leaving or just receive the gifts of that already. When we have an eclipse, as we said, there has to be a 12-degree orb next to one of these. Okay, so that makes an eclipse occur. So I'm going to just briefly say, since we're in eclipse season, this is what it means when there's a lunar eclipse. The moon is on the outer side, the earth is in the center, and the sun, of course, is there. So we have the earth in the middle when there's a lunar eclipse. So that's when the earth is blocking sunlight from reaching the moon and creating a shadow across the lunar surface. All right, so when we have the other way, that's the solar eclipse. So the lunar eclipse is when the moon is on the outside. So, and this is just a diagram showing that it will eventually move to more of the exact position. So when it's exact, that's total. So when it's only partial, then you're not quite in that alignment. When you have a solar eclipse, this is the opposite. The moon is on the inside, the earth is on the outside, sun is over here, and we have the moon traveling. That's when we have to wear those special glasses when we have the total solar eclipse so that you are protected, because that sun, it looks like the moon is eating away the sun. So that's why back in the ancient times, of course, the emperors and kings always had astrologers, so they would say, when is the next eclipse? I'm going to tell my people I'm going to eat the sun if they don't follow me, or, however that might play out. But it gave power to those in the know. So it looked like that the dragon was going to eat up the sun, and it was quite an auspicious time. I mean, people were really afraid when they saw that happen. Imagine when you didn't understand what was occurring scientifically. So the solar eclipse occurs when the moon is directly between the earth and the sun, and the moon casts a shadow over the earth. The solar eclipse can only take place when when the moon is in its new phase. So that's when we have the moon and the sun. That's when they're close together, the new moon. So here's a close-up diagram of that. Now, here's one that I found I thought was really good. This is the solar eclipse. This is what happened when we see that shadow and we see the direct line that moon is making with its shadow going across. That's what happened when we had the big August 2017, when it went from the Pacific coast to the eastern coast of the United States. So, and then we had it going north from the Gulf all the way up across. So that's what that's talking about there. This only happens occasionally because the moon doesn't orbit the same exact plane as the sun and earth do. The time when they are aligned is known as eclipse season, which happens twice a year. We're going to deal with a partial solar eclipse, and that's when the moon passes between the sun and the earth it's not perfectly lined up. Okay. And there are definitely there's the total, the annular, partial, and hybrid. I won't go into all that right now on this broadcast, but the new moon in Pisces is tomorrow. Okay, so be ready. This is when you plant your seeds. What do I need? A car? Do I need a dishwasher? A relationship? A job? More money? What is it that I need in my life? And the natives, this is a time where ask and you will receive. So if you don't ask, it's hard for the universe to know what to bring to you and what's for your highest good. So the new moon in Pisces is tomorrow, and this is being broadcast on the 26th. So February 27th, 2025, 6:44 p.m. Central Time. And those for my friends here in Nashville, 6:32 p.m. Nashville. So the sun and the moon are together at 9 degrees. And I keep seeing 9 being a predominant number lately. It's a completion number in numerology. It's also completing to transform to a new phase. So it's a good thing. It's just something might be ending to bring a new beginning. And this is a new moon. So what is it that I want to bring about in my life that will help me on my path? So this is also a picture of all the lineup in this. And so we have a quite big lineup right here in Pisces and then going into Aries. And so the sun and the moon are together. Then we have Saturn in Pisces going next to Mercury, which will turn retrograde this month. We have the nodal axis at 27, and the Neptune is still conjunct that. And then we have Venus in Aries and Chiron in Aries. So this is quite an energy zone here. So I would look in your chart where Pisces and Aries are located in your chart, as this energy will be moving toward Aries, except there's some retrograde going on. So watch for that. All right, so here's the full moon total lunar eclipse. And so this is going to be where the sun and the moon are opposite in the sky. So the earth is kind of in between these two. And so we have 23 degrees of Virgo, 23 degrees of Pisces. So this is a very spiritual, watery sign. This is a very grounding, healing sign of earth. So the moon is in Virgo, which is the earth. It's the midwife. It's the healer, hands-on healer. And the sun shining a light in Pisces for spiritual healing, creativity, going into that sensitive part of ourselves. So again, that will happen at 7:54 p.m. Central Time, 7:42 p.m. Nashville. So, and this is not partial. This is actually a total, because the total, that's a typo, but the total is going to be when the moon and the sun, look how close they are. They're like under 4 degrees. To be close to that, that's going to be a very potent time on March 14th to feel this like full moon, letting go, releasing energy, as is an eclipsing, time. So the sun will be next to the north node, shining on our destiny globally, and the moon will be on the south node, releasing, an emotional response too on our past, and maybe moving into that north node of our destiny. And, Pisces is the spiritual elevation, moving ahead, moving into a higher realm and higher dimension. So again, here's the lineup during that full moon. Here's the nodal axis, and look at what's running into, all of this. We have Mercury, and we are going to talk about Venus retrograde, but Mercury will be going retrograde from Aries into Pisces. So there's just so much energy down here in this chart, or wherever that shows up in your department of life in your birth chart. So next week's class will help people find where this is located and what house it's located in for you personally. And that tells you, is it about my job? Is it about relationship, money? Is it about communication and my voice and my will, or my identity? So it just this is a great time to see what this is speaking to you on a personal level as well. All right, so we have the new moon, and this is a partial solar eclipse. This is when we see that moon eating up the sun in the sky. So, but it's partial, and it won't be seen in the United States. It'll be Africa, Europe, Greenland, Iceland, and Northwest Russia. So again, here's that theme of 9 degrees for the solar eclipse. And it's being partial. Here's where it is with in relation to the nodal axis. We have, it's just within 12 degrees. So it's just, I mean, it made it in there as an eclipse officially, but a partial. So we have 27 degrees for the north node, 27 for the south node in Virgo. And it, again, it's that, idea of moving into a more spiritual realm. And so we have the sun and moon in Aries, which is about the beginning, starting, doing. Aries is fire, wants to pioneer, start things. Okay. So this is a very good thing for launching something. And it happens at that 5:57 a.m. Central Time or 5:45 a.m. for Nashville people. So just be aware where this shows up in your chart and where another 9 degrees might be located. That angle of 9 degrees. Anywhere else is important to note. Okay, so the other lineup here with this whole, new moon eclipse. Look at it, just, I'm telling you, I would want to know what department of life is being energized for myself if I'm looking at my chart, and what department of life. All these numbers right here, 1 through 12, those are departments of life. 1 is about you, what you want. 2 is money. 3 is communication and siblings, short distance travel. Then 4 is home. 5 is creativity and children. 6 is health. Acute health and daily work routine. 7th, relationships. 8th is other people's money and transformation. It's a transformation house. It can be death and dying, but it can be just transforming of something. 9th, higher learning, expansion, long distance travel. 10th house is your job, what I do out in the community, what I do out in the public eye. This is the MC, the highest part of your chart, to know what is my purpose. Then 11th house is social endeavors, social groupings that I'm involved in. It can be occasions, or it can also be I'm in this class, I'm doing this group for a cause. 12th house, you come to a close. Everything's coming to an end. And it's also, 12th house is also the subconscious. It's past life and karma. All right, so we just had this wonderful lineup, and we're going to talk about the Mercury, Neptune, Venus, that conjunction right there that we just talked about. Spring equinox, moving along quickly here. Spring equinox is the time where the sun ingresses into Aries. Happy birthday to the Aries people when the sun goes into Aries. And this is the equinox, when it's equal day, equal night. When we have the solstices, it depends on, if in the northern hemisphere or the southern hemisphere on these two, y'all. But the northern, is it the shortest day? And is it the longest day in the summer? So that's what happens when we have the solstices and the equinox. And I do tropical astrology, which is Western astrology. So it's important to know the equinox and the solstices. Now, the spring equinox will happen on the 20th of March at 4:01 a.m. Central Time. This is, again, on 0 degrees of Aries. So you can see where's that sun moving from that Pisces energy. And it's also the last natural house of the zodiac wheel. And it's moving into starting the whole new year for the zodiac calendar. And look at all the lineup right there. And so we have kind of a nice little sextile with Pluto. So there's a positive aspect there. There's Mars joining a positive aspect with Saturn, because they're both in water, and it's 120 degrees apart. So there's some good energy. It's just, there's also, you just want to see where this flows in your chart. Venus retrograde, here we go. Yay, Venus. She does. She creates a pentagram in the sky too. She has kind of that flower of life looking, star shape really, but it's March 1st. She's actually just coming up. So March 1st, 2025, she arrives in her retrograde motion at 10 degrees of Aries at 6:36 p.m. Central Time. Venus retrogrades of 2025. This period calls for deeper reflection on your relationships, what truly matters to you, because she rules Libra, I want to be in relationship. And it's how are you doing in relationship with yourself? And then it also, she rules Taurus, which is about my security, my possessions, and what I deem as a priority. So now you're going back and revisiting, rethinking your relationships. If you notice a little wobble in things of your security and relationships, just hang in there, go inward and find out what is really happening with you on the inside. And she begins her retrograde in a bold and passionate Aries, pushing you to reconsider how you pursue pleasure. So she is about love, beauty, money, and the senses. And Taurus is that grounded, sensual, kind of a romantic. So when we observe from Earth over the 8-year period of the planet Venus appears to trace a path across the sky that resembles a 5-pointed star or a pentagram. Due to its orbital resonance with the Earth, where Venus orbits the Sun 13 times for every 8 orbits of Earth. This pattern is often called the pentagram of Venus, and that came from this Hindu times. So, this is a very important, she's like goddess, energy of love. And she's very powerful, but when we're going back into, I see, how are we doing with our taking care of ourselves and the relationship with ourselves and our inner child and our inner being. Mercury retrograde, yay! So Venus retrograde, relationships and things, security. Now Mercury's a messenger. It's like gadgets, it's technology, and it's travel. Watch out for traveling, and also read the fine print. Doesn't mean don't buy anything. It just means, do I really need this right now? And do I need to make sure that I'm getting what, look at the fine print. Make sure you're getting what you're asking for. So, and what you're purchasing. And it happens where Mercury's next to Venus. I mean, they're both like 2-degree orb here. So just interesting lineup, and they're going back, into Pisces. So it'll be interesting to see their journey together. Now, Mercury retrograde, look at the lineup here again with all this energy, and notice where does this happen? The retrograde motion happen in your chart, so that the department of life that you're going to have to be a little more aware of. Is it home? Is it job? Is it relation? Is it money? Is it, traveling? So Mars goes direct in Cancer. It already went direct on the 23rd. Now we're going to feel that direct motion even more so as we are in March. So even though it started, it's stationing direct at the end of February, we're going to feel that direct motion really launch off into March. So that means action, assertiveness. It's also, Mars is a pioneer. It's not afraid. It has a lot of courage to go forward and do things that other people might be a little more not quite sure about doing. Mars is like, I'm going for it. And sometimes with Mars, it might go for it and forget that it didn't make a list and have its itinerary and have knowing where it's going. And it'll forget things. So you just have to, or it might not finish something because it wants to start fires. That's what Mars is built to do, to start. It might not be the enduring one, and that, Mars people, Aries people need to be kind about that, because if they don't feel like finishing it, it's okay. Sometimes we have to go through the hard stuff anyway to finish something, but have support around you. Find somebody that will endure it with you or help support you to finish. Here's that energy, and look at Mercury 17, Mars at 17. That's a lovely trine, and Mars is trining Saturn. And so this is a positive time. This is around, as it moves into March, we're going to feel that nice thing. Now, we're getting to the last part. Neptune and Aries, y'all. This is the last time it did this, was in the Civil War period. I'm sorry to say, but it is during that time of strife and discord and division. And so we want to be aware so that we harness this energy and not be victim to it, but actually embrace it and understand what it wants us to do. So this happens when Neptune comes out of Pisces and goes into Aries at that 0-degree point. That's the beginning of the zodiac wheel, right? The calendar. So March 30th is the last time it was Aries, 1861. So that was during the Civil War. So the thing about this is Neptune has, touched the North Node, And so that's about destiny and that's spiritual. To me, when I keep seeing all these aspects around this area of the chart, it's like I'm elevating myself. I am looking at this nodal axis in Pisces. Saturn's about to hit the nodal axis. And now Neptune is ingressed into the fire sign when it's a water sign. So just know this is water. This is spiritual. This is, it's a healing. It's also healing. So I just am being aware, and I'm doing some research on this Neptune and Aries and what did it mean before, so that we can understand the energy better today. Saturn will ingress into Aries May 24th, 2025, and Saturn and Neptune close conjunction will begin July 13th, 2025. So, but they do have an exact conjunction. I didn't put that in here, but that's going to be a big deal because they kind of dance a little bit together, and then they will definitely have their exact conjunction coming up. So let's see if I actually put that in here. I can't remember. Close in July, North Node. Okay, so this is just be aware what trends is a shift. Okay, from water, Neptune rules Pisces. It was comfortable there. Now it's going into this fiery sign that it just doesn't quite get its jam going. So just realize that's going to be kind of an intense moment too. Thank you for watching. I hope this brought some insight to you and, helps you to be aware. If you're feeling quite emotional tonight and tomorrow and the next 3 days after, just be compassionate to yourself and others, because we're all it might be digging some deep wounds. Allow that, find someone to work with. You don't have to do it alone. And if you do keep seeing a pattern over and over again, pay attention, because that's, we could be going in, Neptune's helping us go deep inside to heal those wounds, those Piscean wounds that can be healed. So thank you so much. Blessings, and enjoy this Pisces moon. Bye-bye.